the Gamescom and not broken. So.
I didn't bring me little mice because I thought they're a bit heavy.
Yeah.
It's going to take me ages to edit edit everything together. It's going to be a nightmare. So I thought, stick with the phone. It's noisy anyway, but this is a brand new phone. I'm hoping it's got some noise cancellation. So my first ever interview with Skydance, and I've just played I keep pronouncing it wrong.
Skydance is Behemoth.
That's it. Just played Behemoth. I'm allowed to say it was amazing.
You're allowed to say it was amazing.
And I never, you guys know me, I never swear on video. I'm going to have to bleep this out.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It was what you like to tell us about the game so far, because I've been doing VR for 7 years. You did something to my body today that my body's never experienced in VR. When I was climbing that monster, I could feel it tilting, swifting, and my legs went to jelly.
Yeah. We call that
magic.
Pucker factor. So what we were going for with all of our these massive boss battles was we wanted you to, when you're battling them, when you see them, they needed to provoke a strong reaction, right? So the Shackle High, the first Behemoth that we revealed a few months ago, we made that Behemoth twice as large as it was originally scoped.
It looks big in the trailer, but
Shackle High probably comes up to like above the hip, maybe, or it's around the legs.
Well, I'm going to base it on the Horizons game, Horizon VR game. When you see that big mech stride over you, that giant was 3 times bigger than that.
Yes, that's a skyscraper that you just fought.
How the hell did you get all those polygons and everything, all the meshing? Because the animations are fantastic.
Thank you.
You've nailed it. You've nailed the animation. You've nailed got the weight of the Walking Dead again with the weapons.
Yeah.
That sensation of climbing, it felt like I was climbing a real monster.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, oh, this is a VR gimmick.
Yeah.
I could feel it tilt.
Oh yeah. Well, when he tries to shake
and
it
you
off.
see my body like, what's going on here? I'm not used to this in VR. I can see what you've taken from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And you've introduced it, and you've added more. What goes into planning?
So much.
The scale.
Do
you design the monsters first, and then scale it back down?
So, yeah, we all of our design is the Behemoths are the measure of all things in the world. So, when we're thinking about any mechanics, it's always related to how is this going to contribute to a Behemoth battle? Yeah. What is this going to do for a Behemoth battle? The grappling hook is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Right? The grappling hook enables you to keep up with the Behemoths because it allows you to move faster throughout the environment.
Well, you saw how I had to adapt.
Yes.
Because that was a new mechanic for me.
Right.
And at first I wasn't doing the swings, but then eventually I got to do I was Tarzan.
Combo swings. Yeah.
So I managed to get in front of the monster.
And there are ways that you can build momentum and you can swing free like a pendulum.
Yeah.
There's some pretty wild stuff you can do too with the physics, but you can effectively, like I said, everything in the game had to in some way be relevant to battling the Behemoths in some way. Even the combat system had to the weight of it had to feel right. Because weight and a feeling of real mass and real force is what's going to be the selling point.
You got the height as well.
Yes.
You nailed the height.
And the difference between this game and Saints and Sinners is Saints and Sinners is a survival horror.
Yeah.
This, you are a hunter. It's not really about scavenging for bits and bobs to keep you alive. This is about killing your way through the most enemies to get to the biggest bosses and then finding the way to slay those bosses. And as a result, everything is streamlined for that. Right? So forging the weaponry.
So has the game got crafting as well? I didn't get
We're actually reducing the amount of crafting.
Right.
It's just not as satisfying as it would.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of user testing and research, and the more playtests that we have, the more that we find that people like the action, people like the fast movement, and then they like solving. There's puzzles to solve. You got sort of a very a simple one in the tutorial where you were raising the platforms, but those get a lot more complex. You get the axe, and then you probably spend an hour just working with the axe and getting really, really comfortable with it.
I've always imagined Shadow of the Colossus in VR. this
is it.
Yeah, this has gone beyond. I imagined Shadow the Colossus in VR, but the monsters being smaller than yours. You presented me with a monster 10 times bigger than I expected. I've got to say, that's the biggest thing I've ever seen in VR.
That was the goal. And the team, again, we wanted to push the limit. I've been playing VR since the first time I tried a demo of Half-Life with DK1, right?
Yeah.
This game, the goal is, with every game, with Saints and Sinners, we saw that, okay, here's the level of expectations for killing zombies in the VR market. Yeah. And now we hope that every game with zombies is looking at Saints and Sinners and saying, that's the level. With Behemoth, we're thinking about scale, we're thinking about giant bosses, we're thinking about medieval combat, hack and slash.
Yeah.
We have the same attitude of, okay, what's been done and how can we raise the expectations? And like you were saying, it does things to your body when you get scale. It's the first game in maybe 4 or 5 years that has made me crash into anything in my office. You get so caught up in what you're doing, and when you're scrambling, especially in the heat of the moment. And one of the things that we found that's interesting is it throws people off, but we haven't had a lot of issues with motion sickness. And part of that is, for people who want the comfort vignette, it's there for you. Like, we have to build that, and we need to make sure people have that option. But the other thing is that when you have this massive leg, or any part of the Behemoth that you're on, you're actually able to use that, becomes the stable ground. So it's funny, like on the platforms, until you realize that you're safe on the platforms, you feel very unsafe. But when you grab on, you actually feel safer with your hands held. Even once it moves, if you're looking that way, it's scary. Once you return to looking at the leg itself, or the wherever it's at, it's so big, it's like you're just climbing a wall again.
But I actually physically gripped harder when he tried to shake me
I'll
off.
bet.
You nailed the sensations.
Thank you. Well, it's funny, I gave a talk on Monday at the DevCom, and I don't know if it's posted online, but one of the things that we talked about is the way that we approach things is we want to achieve that sense of immersion where even though you know it's not real, you're at Gamescom, you're on the floor, we're around you, you're in VR. It's also different, I think, the combat is obviously it's an evolution of what we did in Saints and Sinners, and it builds on that. But one of the things in Saints and Sinners, even if you had the baseball bat, you might be swinging wide. But really, all of the weapons except for maybe the dagger and the bow
and the stick
are things that you want to get a wide arc on your swing. It does work though the way that Force worked in The Walking Dead. So it's not actually about the speed or the force. So it's the more that you really, if you role play, I'm holding a real axe and this is how I would heft it, and you put that long arc on it, the game reads that as you've generated a massive amount of strength. When you put a sense of weight in the arms, it makes the climbing feel so much more, I don't know how to put it, but it actually feels more real. That's the, when it's floaty, when, can you do a one-arm pull-up in the game? Absolutely. Is it still going to feel like you're dragging yourself
Can you grapple
up?
as well? Pull and grapple?
Yeah, you can do a lot. You can climb the ropes. You can get pretty wild with the ropes too. I hope the Dreadstag battle becomes a peak experience in VR for people, not just this year, but sort of for just where we're at. I hope it becomes a high watermark.
Are people going to get the same experience on the PlayStation VR 2, PC? Because that was a PC version.
That was a PC version.
And the Quest.
It's the same game. So in Walking Dead, the only thing that really changed was the number of enemies.
I mean, you did a good job on that as well. Quest version.
Thank you. Well, and it's interesting the way we managed the walker population on the Quest was not that we had fewer walkers in the world, there were just fewer walkers that you could see at any one time. But even in the background, the game was always tracking, okay, we can't show you all the walkers, but here are how many walkers are actually behind that corner right in this building. Obviously the graphical fidelity has to be dialed in. But it is the same game.
Yeah.
You take the same paths. I'm going to sound like the corporate shill, and I'm like, I can't really pick a favorite. They're all my favorite. Yeah. But I think again, there are massive advantages to each platform depending on the player, what they have available, and what they want. Like the going untethered in the game is amazing. Yeah. It is, especially in the really intense combat scenarios. Yeah. That can be really amazing. The PSVR2 has a level of haptics that cannot be achieved anywhere else, and the graphical fidelity is pretty much equivalent to the PC running ultra settings because we can use the gaze-based
and use the FOV as well.
And then on the PC, you have the option to just crank things beyond ultra.
I'm saving up for 4090 now.
There you go. Yeah, if you've got a 4090, and again, I think this is a kind of game that will hold its specs.
You said this is running on 4080, wasn't it?
I think this was on a 4080.
Super. Yeah.
You'll be able to modulate settings. So if you don't have a 40, I don't have a 4080 in my personal gaming PC. So I feel like I'm waiting for the 50 series. Right. I've got the 30 series, and I can't afford to be buying every gen. But it's still. I mean, it runs on my PC, and it's all a matter of just getting the graphical settings dialed in from your machine. But I'm really, really proud of the work that the team did to make it the same experience.
So you guys are the legends. You make VR what it is. I class The Walking Dead as the pinnacle go-to zombie game.
Oh, thank you.
That's the benchmark. So developers need to beat that. Well, I think you've just got the benchmark of action adventure.
Wow.
It's going to take some beating.
Well, thank you. As you can imagine, it's a 12-hour campaign.
12 hours? Wow.
But for some people, it's going to take 18 hours. Once we actually had the entire game laid out from front to back, all of our testing protocols were no longer valid. We had to completely rethink how we're testing the game because there was just so much of it to test. And a game like this that's got run on a lot of dynamic physics systems, testing has to be exhaustive. You have to try so many things so many ways. And there are things that I've seen people do today and that I'm sure we'll see throughout the week that I've never seen, and I've put...
Like dying, like me, like fall off it?
There's moments that are different for everyone.
Well, I tried to swing and I misjudged this design, I misjudged the momentum.
There's leaps of faith. There are moments that are everybody's going to play it a bit different.
Well, you've also introduced the safety methods, so I did not realise when I grappled, the B button will take me all the way through the
mode. All the way through the grapple. If you're on a ledge and you look down and you're on a very steep ledge. You look down, there's this big pit, and there is a grapple point, a post for you to grapple to far below you. You drop down and grapple that from above, you will get so much momentum off your swing. It will swing you in a full circle, and you can launch off that.
Like Spider-Man.
You can do some wild stuff.
It's gonna be amazing. Any hidden monsters in there you're not allowed to talk about? Any secret ones?
Well, there are behemoths we haven't shown.
Do you got any like baby behemoths you can ride?
No baby behemoths. Maybe for Behemoth 2.
Right. DLC.
But there are actually a number of. So you fought some of our human enemies. There's tons and tons of that combat. And then we have mini bosses throughout the game that are humans that have unique swords and
like the guy I hit with the shield, where I had to break the shield to kill him.
That's actually not a mini boss. That's a standard shielded sword. Like the sword will take little bits out of the shield. The axe will just obliterate the shield within a few swipes. You turn strength on, things can get real wild. You can cut their legs out from under them. I seem to chop faces off.
What?
I seem to have a tendency when I'm playing and I activate strength that when I swing I end up cutting a lot of faces off.
Is it like certain sections of the body that will just come off anyway, or is it?
It's dynamic severing, so you can any direction, any which way. There is a limit to how many times you can slice something, and that's actually determined by the number of physics objects that are already in play. We would be able to break if we turned everything in the game into a live physics object. We would break the PC. But it's a super dynamic system. So you can do things where if an enemy is armored and turtling up, and you get them into a weak point, and they expose their back to you, you can stab them in the neck and try and bring them. There's no stealth gameplay. That was something that we decided against. Just based on the way that people were not stealthing their way through this game when they played. They wanted to swing. They wanted to be a loud swashbuckler. And going back to Behemoth must be the measure of all things in the game. You're not going to be able to stealth around it. The most you can stealth is actually when you're on the dread stag, and it's not aware of where you are because you're too small.
Is it trying to find you as well? Have you used
it knows where you are once you hit the weak points.
Are you using like clever programming techniques to do that, or are you using like any AI to so the monster can like work out where you are?
There's bits of simple AI, that govern phase behavior. 2 minutes?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's these fights are very dynamic, and that's also why we built so many save points. So pretty much every platform that you reach as you go higher and higher, if you fall off, we're going to reset you to that platform.
If I was to come across that monster again, would it be a different fight?
It would still be largely the same chain of events, but your approach and your success rate would be different with every platform, with every swing. Sometimes, for example, when you're doing that grapple to the wrist point, sometimes I'll get that, and just by nature of where the arm is and how it's moving, I might go on a wild swing. Other times, I might grapple it while the arm is relatively still and just zip right there and have a very safe and easy time. So you never fall the same way twice. You kind of do it.
In Saints and Sinners, you introduced the horde mode, didn't you? So like when you finish the game. So once you've completed this game, are you going to have something similar like with the
we are going to have an arena mode, combat gym style. There'll just be waves of enemies, and as you go through the game, these higher level enemies, no behemoths in the arena. But
at least there's something more to it.
We'd love to support the game beyond release, so I never want to say never with anything. If you buy the game and tell us you love it,
people are going to buy the game.
And you say you want things. If you buy the game,
the VR community will buy the game.
I hope so. I hope that we bring people, like I said, something they haven't seen.
Can I just ask you one more question?
Sure.
You've been a fantastic host.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of people are curious about the open world. Is it?
It's not really. It's a wide linear. So you can backtrack if you want to backtrack. But you can. But it's an action adventure game.
I just want to thank you for the amazing books that you gave me a lot. That's amazing. It's all like comic art, spoilers.
And we are actually
awesome. Thank you very much.
we're giving these away at our booth for the people that make it through the encounter on the floor. You get it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrew.
That was amazing.
Thank you, Graham. It was fantastic. I hope you had a great time.
Amazing. Worth coming to Germany for.
Oh, brilliant, man.
Thank you, man.